We have to have evidence in order to connect the defendant to your dead dog.
What's lacking is their proof.
I would like to see the diagnosis from the original vet.
I can't find that. I just have the bills.
Well, that's the most important piece of evidence.
Can I just state something?
You can't state anything. I want to see evidence.
This is Judge Judy.
Derek and Nicole Trotter are suing their neighbor, Kevin Edquist, for vet bills, the cost of a dog, and punitive damages after he inadvertently poisoned their pet.
Judge, this is case number 73 on the calendar in the matter of Trotter versus Edquist. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Thank you, Bird. Mr. and Mrs. Trotter, how long have you and the defendant been neighbors?
Close to 18 years.
How long has the wall been up between your two homes?
Ever since we've been there.
Your case is a sad one. According to you, you bought a puppy back in December of 2019.
Correct.
It was one of those adorable mixes of puppies. Small dog.
There's a schnoodle, yeah.
That's a combination of a poodle and a schnauzer.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Very adorable, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, I assume that your backyard is fully fenced?
Yeah, it's a block fence, and we have a wandering fig vine that grows on it and up kind of over it.
Around the backyard?
Yes.
Okay. So I assume that you would let the puppy out by herself?
Right. It was a boy, but yes.
A boy?
Right. No.
It is your claim that the defendant negligently put out rat poison, and as a result of that, your dog was poisoned and died.
Yeah.
The defendant says, while he does acknowledge that months before he did put out some rat poison, you're going to explain to me why you did that and in what method you did that. It is your claim that there is absolutely no evidence that the rat poison caused the dog to expire, and especially the rat poison that you used. So, Mr. Trotter, you got the dog in December of 2019. Where did you get him from?
We found an ad on Craigslist.
And how much did you pay for him? Because that's part of your lawsuit.
Right. He was $350.
Tell me what happened in August.
So on Sunday morning, August 2nd, we noticed that Loki was displaying just weird symptoms. He wasn't himself. He was just kind of hunched over, just looked off. We didn't give it too much thought. We fed him, and then we went away for the day and came back later in the afternoon. But
was he left inside or outside?
They have access to both. We have a doggy door.
You have more than one dog?
Yeah, we have two.
Okay. So you noticed that Loki was acting in a lethargic way.
Right.
When you came home?
Right. That was later on she's always is. So we went to the back, found him kind of cowering by the pool, and he wouldn't come, and he was just really bad. So we took him to the emergency vet on the evening of August 2nd.
Do you have a report from the vet?
Yes.
We have that report, yeah. We did one blood test, which came back negative for
don't tell me what it came. No, just
okay.
Don't tell me what the blood test came back for. I just want to see your evidence.
Okay.
Here's a report.
Thank you. Well, that tells me that the dog died. I would like to see the report from the blood tests that they did and the diagnosis from the vet.
I don't have that one.
Well, that's the most important piece of evidence.
It should have been in the police report, is where it should have been, in our police report.
Miss Trotter,
yes.
I'm sympathetic with you. I'm a dog lover and sympathetic with you. But this is a court. Court rules on evidence.
That's what we have with the vet that we took him to the following day. He made that report, and that was his findings.
We took him to several vets.
Well, he made the report based on... Just a second. I'll look at the second piece of information that you have. You do understand that the first piece of evidence that you have is of totally no value to me, as long as you understand that, Mr. Trotter. Okay, now I'll read this.
I don't know why they didn't give us that.
Okay, you brought your dog in, and your dog was sick. You went to the vet. You didn't take the dog back to the first vet, which must have been an emergency vet.
Okay.
Right.
You took the dog to this vet, who examined the dog and says the dog seems to have neurological defects were observed on examination. Okay, intention tremors were noted along with delayed conscious of both limbs. Final component to Loki's breathing was also noted. I don't know what that means. I'm not a vet. He was 2% dehydrated and semi-non-ambulatory, and they prescribed some things. And they have a differential diagnosis of toxicity, a toxin.
Bromethylene, yeah.
So what you have is you have a differential diagnosis of a toxin.
Right.
period.
And a dead dog.
That it is possible that your dog died from ingesting some sort of toxin. You have to connect that to the defendant in order for you to be successful in a court.
I understand.
Not in a court of sympathy, but in a court of law.
Right.
So I'm willing to take a look at what evidence that you have.
So in the animal care report, you can give
Go ahead.
us that his...
No, don't tell me what it says. Don't tell me what it says. I'll read it.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so you reported that your dog was killed by the neighbor who left out rat poison. So far, we have no evidence of that. Reporter had spoken to the neighbor about the concern in the weeks before the incident, and his dog was confirmed that poison was the cause of death by the dog. Well, that I didn't see. It said a toxin. As a little pet owner, a toxin could be a lot of things.
Right.
Could be something that they eat out on the lawn.
If you keep reading, it'll connect it.
Well, I will, but so far what I've read is just your synopsis without any evidence, because neither of the two reports that you showed me confirm that the dog was killed by a poison.
Right.
Nothing could confirm that.
Okay, so
Except a neurological spinal tap is what the vets told us. In order to confirm this kind of poisoning...
I just told your husband, you're not a veterinarian, I assume.
It's just what they told us.
Which makes you not an expert. Just a second. I mean, are you just being purposely obstinate? I told your husband, you cannot tell me what a vet told you, because that's hearsay and inadmissible. The fact that you say it's still inadmissible. If it's in a veterinarian report as a business record, I can read it. But you're telling that to me is hearsay. You say it once, twice, or three times. It doesn't make it less hearsay. Okay. So this says, per the reporter, the neighbor had to have reached over the property line to zip tie a bag lock of poison to a tree in reporter's yard. So that's conjecture, because nobody saw that.
We have evidence.
The rats, when you show me evidence, I'll read it.
Can I show you evidence?
Not yet.
Okay.
Right now I'm reading what you put up here for me to see, which is just a story that you think may have happened. The rats chewed through the bags, the poison fell to the ground, and the dog ingested it. That's conjecture. You may have evidence to show me that that is what a fact is, but so far that's all conjecture. That's not fact. That's what you think may have happened. That's not proof in a court. The zip tie is still on the tree, and the remnants of the poison are still on the ground in the reporter's yard. Okay. You wanted to show me something else, Ms. Trotter?
So, Your Honor, here are pictures where my husband found the zip ties. The day he died, he went out in the backyard to see what could have possibly caused his death, and this is what he found.
Also, if you notice in that report that you just went over from the animal control, it did specifically say that Loki had green residue in his feces. It was bright green, the same color as the poison.
Actually, Mr. Trotter, what it said was very clear. It said that it was reported to animal control that the dog had had discoloration in its feces for 2 weeks prior to his death.
Yes.
No, and also on August 1st, we also took pictures of his feces.
Just what I'm telling you was that your dog was sick for 2 weeks.
We didn't know he was sick. He had no symptoms.
Listen to me. Do not interrupt me again. Whoever spoke to animal control confirmed to animal control that the dog had had green feces for 2 weeks prior to the dog getting sick.
Right.
I'm going to read it. I'll read it to you, Ms. Strata.
Right.
Put the other piece of evidence up again.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with that
So
at
this
all.
is from animal. Okay. You're interrupting.
It didn't say
what you
that
are
he had
doing
it.
is interrupting me. What you are
leave.
doing is interrupting me. Throughout my conversation, they stated, we don't believe that Kevin placed poison out intentionally. However, we are upset that the poison was placed on our property without our knowledge. He arrived at your house and spoke to the dog owner. The animal control officer said, I explained to the Trotters that there does not seem to be intent of crimes against animals and evidence that Loki passed away from the rodent poison as the blood work was relatively normal and there was no body to conduct an autopsy on. to conclusively determine that Loki passed away due to the ingestion of a specific poison set out by Kevin. That's what animal control says in their report, which is what, Mrs. Trotter, I'm trying to elicit from you.
Can I say something?
In order for you to establish that the defendant is responsible for your dog's death, you have to establish that the dog was poisoned.
I have evidence that I'm still wanting to show you.
I'm going to see all your evidence.
Okay.
I'm looking, you gave me this evidence.
So we have obviously the stool was bright green. We noticed that 2 weeks prior, and also...
It was bright green for 2 weeks.
No, it was not bright green for 2 weeks. It was once.
Off and on.
Maybe a couple times over the 2-week period, we noticed his stool color was bright green.
It's only on August 1st that we actually took pictures.
But he had no symptoms diet related, because I feed my dogs a raw diet, blueberries, yellow vegetables, and I went on a Facebook group that I go on to get their feedback, and since there were no symptoms, they told me they believed it was diet related.
Don't tell me what anybody else told you. You can't tell me what anybody else told you.
He had no symptoms at that time.
It's fine.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Here is another picture of all the zip ties that we cut off from his placement of putting these zip ties on our wall. The time my husband took these zip ties to him, he laughed in my husband's face.
Derek and Nicole Trotter claim neighbor Kevin Edquist is responsible for fatally poisoning their dog, Loki.
Keep going.
So here are
Keep
pictures.
Miss Trotter.
Here's
okay, I
some
see pictures. Next.
Okay.
Next.
You saw this one?
What's next? I saw it.
The residue here. Here we see
I saw it.
The zip ties that were placed in our property, and below the zip ties you can see the poison residue on our vine here.
And he admits to putting it there.
In the report that you read, he admitted to putting it there. Here's another picture where...
I read the report.
You can see one of the zip ties.
I read the report.
Below our property. And here is another picture of all the zip ties that we cut off from his placement of putting these zip ties on our wall.
Any other evidence that you want me to see?
No. At the time my husband took these zip ties to him, he laughed in my husband's face.
Don't tell me what he did unless you were there. Were you there?
He was there.
No, but I was there. And yes, he did.
I know you were there, but you have to tell me.
Yeah.
If she tells me, it's because you told her.
I took all the zip ties in the
hearsay.
baggie and said, this can never happen again. And he just kind of laughed and said, well, there's no blood in the report. But it doesn't show up in the blood report, that type of poison.
Okay, Mr. Trotter. Puppy died on August 4th. And a couple of weeks later, you got a new puppy. Do you like the new puppy?
He's very cute, yes.
He
very sweet.
Doesn't replace our old dog.
Okay. Well, believe me, I do understand that. I've had pets my whole life, and I've lost them, and sometimes I've lost them to old age, and sometimes not.
Your Honor, can I just state something?
No, you can't state anything. I want to see evidence. I've looked at what you tell me is all of your evidence, Mrs. Trotter.
We had asked this gentleman
and I haven't spoken.
Not to...
If the defendant attached anything to your side of the property, that's trespass. You might sue him for trespass. What you have to prove, I know you're looking at talking to your husband and to another 10 million people. Okay? My dogs have gotten sick from a lot of toxins. When the gardener puts in fertilizer, if I'm not careful enough, and one of them grabs and eats one of the chunks of fertilizer, they get very sick from a toxin. When there are rabbit droppings or deer droppings, and if a dog ingests that, it's a toxin. They can get sick and die. I'm not saying that what the defendant did by putting out rat poison, you did put out rat poison, is that correct?
Over the last 10, 12 years, correct. Yes.
In my property.
But you did for a period of time.
Correct.
Within months of this, you put out rat poison.
On my property side, yes.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Two things. That the dog died as a result of a poisoning.
Well, that's what bromethylene does. It's a neurological poison.
I am acutely aware of seizures. I lost a little dog 3 months ago that had a seizure, and I didn't sue anybody.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Derek and Nicole Trotter say the negligence of neighbor Kevin Edquist led to the poisoning and death of their dog.
Establish two things: that your dog died from a poison other than any other kind of just toxin, which is a toxic material, and connect the defendant to that. So far, the only thing that you showed me is a to whom it may concern letter that I assure you was written recently, not back in August. Would that be correct?
It was about a...
The second...
Right.
Attention.
Does the manner of the death of the
concern
dog count? Does that count as evidence, the manner of death? Because he died of a seizure.
Just a second. If you had a vet here who could tell me that that seizure that vet observed, or the aftermath of that seizure, was a direct result of a rat poison, that would be a nexus.
Well, that's what bromethylene does. It's a neurological poison.
It kills
Let me explain
neurologically.
something to you, sir. I am acutely aware of seizures. I lost a little dog 3 months ago that was a perfectly healthy little dog that had a seizure and had not been poisoned.
Our dog's feces was the same color as the poison.
Had not. Just a second. What I'm telling you is, I don't know how it happened. I don't know the cause of it because I, like you, said I don't want to put through an autopsy to find out what happened, and I'm not going to do that. That's what I said to and I didn't, and I still don't know the reason for that seizure. I didn't sue anybody. You want to sue the defendant, and it is possible that some of the poison that he put out months ago dripped onto your property, and it is also possible that your puppy was licking that poison over a long period of time because there was some evidence of it for weeks. All of that is possible. We don't deal with possibilities in court. We deal with evidence. Two things: that the dog died as a result of a poisoning, and two, something related to the defendant that relates him to that poison. You haven't breached that first threshold that the dog died of a poison.
The pictures that we showed you were placed in our property.
No, there's no... Okay, right. There's no evidence of that. That's trespassing.
Your Honor.
I feel sorry for you. Now I'm finished. I'm actually finished with you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com on Twitter.
Okay, I feel sorry for you. Believe me, I understand your pain, and I understand the fact that when you let a dog outside, especially a puppy, and you leave that dog the ability to go in and out all day long without being watched, things happen. It is possible, I'm not going to say it more than this time, it is possible that the dog's death resulted from the rat poison that the defendant put out on the property. You have not proven to me that your dog was poisoned through evidence that was clearly available to you, and if there was evidence that the dog was poisoned, it would have been in the blood work. Okay. And if it wasn't evident in the blood work, then when the dog died, you could have had an autopsy to establish to your own satisfaction that the dog died as a result of poisoning.
We didn't know.
All right,
until
case
we
is
found
dismissed.
The
We're done. Thank you.
Say anything?
We're done. No.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
The agreement was I would collect payment at the end of the classes.
What justification is there not to pay her any money?
She was late. She probably doesn't understand what she's trying to say.
Judge Judy.
We know it was him. We know he did it. We know he put the poison on our product. He should pay. He should do the decent thing. But he's not a decent human being.
I had put poison out over the 10, 12 years, but not during this period of time.
No, we've had dogs for 13 years, never had a problem before until recently, and we asked him not to place poison there.
It's possible. It could be the pull guy. I don't know. It could be something else. I have no evidence.
And he didn't care. He still put poison in our property, which we did not know about.
It was a money grab.
I went over to approach him, and he basically laughed in my face about it.
And I told him, I'm very sorry for loss of your dog.
You had a house that burned down.
A tragic fire had a silver lining.
How much did the insurance company settle with you for on the burnt out house?
Well, Well,
That's a question. I expect an answer.
But did she take the money and run?
You did not rebuild the house. Do you get where I'm going, Miss Cassis?
no.
I have all the answers.
This is Judge Judy.
Soraya Cassis is suing her former contractor, Tony Duarte, for failing to perform services on her home after it had burned down.
Now it's case number 45 on the calendar in the matter of Cassis versus...
Cassis, according to your complaint, you had a house that burned down and you hired the defendant to do some demolition work to finish demolishing the house and to take away the debris. You claim that you made payments to him and he didn't fulfill his obligation. That's what the case is about. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're suing him for $5,000 for an unfinished project.
Well, I basically made a claim against his bond company, and my award for the bond company...
No, just...
Oh, we're not talking...
You're suing him today for $5,000. Am I
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, so I have a few preliminary questions for you.
Okay.
What was the address of the house that burned down?
Fran Street,
When did you buy Fran Street?
2007.
How much did you pay for the house in 2007?
I only paid 95,000, 97.
No. I want you to think very carefully. How much did you pay for the house? Just a second. In 2005, would it have been closer to 2005 when you purchased Fran Street?
Possibly, and it was...
Fran Street.
Yes. I'm sorry if I said the wrong number.
That's correct. And that house was purchased for approximately...
I had two mortgages. The 88,000 was one mortgage, and I had a second mortgage.
And what was the other mortgage?
Yeah, I don't...
And to whom?
It started out with
Let's-
Chase Bank, but they sold it in the secondary mortgage market like 3 times.
Who owned the mortgage on the house?
I did. May I say something?
No, I want you to... Let's...
Okay.
I asked you a simple question.
Okay.
And I want you to understand, Miss Cassis, that I have all the answers.
Okay.
You bought the house that we're talking about on Fran Street that burned down. How much did you pay for it when you purchased it? That's a simple
Your
question.
Honor,
I have
creative
homes over the years, and
I don't remember exactly. All I remember is that it was creative financing. Whatever was on paper, they gave me cash back so I could fix up the house. So I don't remember exactly what it was, but like I thought it was 97.
I don't want exactly. Give me within $5,000. How much was it? You lived there.
I don't remember
You
if it was
lived there.
95 or 97,000. I don't remember.
Okay, 95. Shh, just a second. 95.
If you see the
Now,
88,000,
it was
that's the first mortgage. There was creative financing. They gave me back money. So that's why I...
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Now, $30,000. When? In what year?
Okay.
Take a breath before you answer my question.
Okay.
You insured the house for $230,000 when?
I insured the
What
house
year?
Every year. Every year I would insure
Yes.
it for the maximum amount to rebuild because I knew that I had to do that because building was expensive. So every single year I
Good.
had maximum
Okay.
insurance on it.
Insurance. Okay, here we go. So the maximum insurance was $230,000. Your house burned down in what month and year?
November of 2017.
And at that time, the insurance company, according to you, was going to give you a payout of $230,000 to replace the house. That's according to your statement that you signed.
Your Honor, it was $230,000 because I have 3 estimates from 3 contractors that it would cost $230,000 at the end of the year. One of them is from Doherty, and I have 2 other ones.
Just a second. I'm not finished questioning you yet. Don't get beyond my questions.
Sorry.
So the house that you paid under $100,000 for, you were now getting from the insurance company $230,000. Now you had an electrical fire.
Yes, ma'am.
What'd you say here?
Yes, there was electrical fire. The fireman said that on the
Okay.
report. Yes.
Just a second. That's not what I asked you. I said you had an electrical fire.
According to the...
Where are you currently? I'm speaking. Where are you currently living?
I bought a house
Right.
in California City.
You bought a house in California City, and the address of, just a second, and the address of that house is 21.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes.
Who owns that house?
I own it, but I just recently put it in a trust, for my daughters, but I don't know if it's been recorded yet.
How much did you pay for that house?
I got it. Basically, it's not a house. It's a town. They're attached together. So I paid.
You paid
$115.
$115.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. Now, who is Mark Anthony?
A person I gave a deli owner that I gave money to help him open up his deli. That I thought that was going to be my business. We had an agreement. After I bought the house, I invested in this deli, but he breached contract also.
Mm-hmm. So you are at the same time.
I am, yes.
Yes.
I've already sued him, actually.
Okay. Now, how much did the insurance company settle with you for on the burnt-out house?
Well,
that's a question. I expect an answer. A figure, a number.
Your Honor.
A number.
A
number.
It's replacement costs and actual value costs. So when they settle.
No, I asked you a question.
Okay.
I expect a numerical answer. How much did the insurance company pay you for the house?
I received
that had an electrical fire.
I received $90,000 for property that was burnt. $90,000, and I received only.
That's not all you received.
Wait, I'm not done.
Come on.
I also received $120,000. I think it was $120,000 for a dwelling. I think. And then I had to pay off my mortgage, which left me with $70,000 to buy a new house.
Just a second. Just a second. I asked you for an entire figure. How much did you receive from the insurance company for the house?
For the house, $120,000 because I did not build.
And for the contents?
$90,000. $90,000.
How much did Mr. Duarte's bond company pay you?
The award was. They awarded me $13,000, and I don't recall the rest of $13,000.
Did you sue the bond company?
I made a claim with the bond company.
My question, Ms. Castillo, you made a claim with the bond company.
Yes, I did.
For how much? His bond company. For how much?
I made the claim. I requested the full $15,000, but
you requested $15,000 from
Yes.
his bond company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how much did his bond company give you?
They ended up giving me only $4,800.
Do you get where I'm going, Miss Cassis?
No.
Do you get where I'm going?
No, Your Honor. I wanted to build my house. I have proof of a.
So what?
May I show you some situations whenever you're ready? I have all the proof in the world to show you the way this incident turned out.
Listen, according to your complaint, Ms. Cassis, you paid Mr. Duarte, according to your signed complaint, $4,500 in advance. You said he did not complete the work. He did not demolish, nor did he haul away the stuff that he was supposed to haul away so that you could rebuild the house. That's what this is about. Well, his bond company, probably with his consent, rebuilt. I'm speaking. You did not rebuild the house. You took the $230,000 that you got from the insurance company for this electrical fire.
No, I didn't, ma'am.
You purchased another property.
No.
I'm just
I did not receive $230,000.
What you just told me.
No, I never received $230,000 from the insurance company.
Well, you just told me you received $120 and $90.
You know, Your Honor.
That's what you told me.
Your Honor, let me tell you something. They didn't just give me that money. I had to work to protect myself because of what he did to me, okay? Now, if you would just let me speak and prove what really happened, I wanted my house to be rebuilt. A $250,000 house is much better than going into a condo in California City, okay? So, I mean, obviously I wanted to build. I have, through emails, been back and forth with him for 12 months, 10 months, okay? With his excuses. I had my attorney write him a letter. I have all of the proof right here. And
I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Ms. Cassis?
Yes.
Pay attention. This is not the Scopes trial. You paid him $4,800. You claimed he didn't do the work for $4,800. His bond company gave you 40 pictures of what you're dissatisfied with the rear of the car.
I didn't bring it with me.
Well, then you thought you were coming to the beach today?
No.
Today you're coming to court.
Soraya Cassis says her former contractor, Tony Duarte, never finished the demolition of her home after it had burned down.
Now, you paid him $4,800.
And he didn't.
You got $4,800.
No, because
from the bond company.
No, because now the demolition costs $8,000. I have the estimates.
Ms. Cassis?
Yes.
Ms. Cassis?
Yes.
Pay attention.
Yes.
This is not the Scopes trial. You paid him $4,800. You claimed he didn't do the work for $4,800. His bond company gave you $4,800.
And for the whole year, I paid $3,000 of fence rental. I have had to put taxes on it, which is another $1,500. Okay, and the new estimate to do demo is $8,000. So that's where they came, and they did their investigation on everything I gave them, and I have the fence receipt.
How much money did you get from the insurance company?
$4,800
for your house.
But $4,800.
No,
but
that's his bond company. How much did you get from the insurance company?
$1,000, but I had to pay a mortgage off with it. They didn't give me the check. They gave the check to my mortgage company.
How much were you left with that enabled you to buy the house where you...
$70,000.
After they paid off the mortgage.
Yes.
And you used that as a down payment to buy another place to live.
No, I actually paid cash for the place that I live because I...
Okay, we're done here. Your Honor, you paid him $4,800. His bond company gave you $4,800. We're done. Case is over. Period.
Your Honor,
we're done. I hope there are people. I hope there are people watching this case. We're done.
Okay.
Do you have anything you want to add, sir?
I do. That's what I put up with for months, and it was never a demo. That's the part that upset me the most. Is that with my bond company, they would not accept any of my documented. I took screenshots of my phone where we had text messaging back and forth. I have one right here where it says, "I can clean the whole place and dispose of the trash for $4,500. That's all I was doing. Someplace along the line, I guess her insurance company wanted it demoed. I said, to demo it, you need to get an engineer out there. We got to do. I told her all this stuff. I sent her emails. She ignored most of it. See,
we're done.
Parties are excused.
I just wanted to get rid of this person. This has been a night insurance company saying that I was her contractor. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm just glad it's over.
Parties in the matter of Reyes Ruiz versus Linares. Step to the podium, please.
Jorge Reyes Ruiz is suing body shop owner Jorge Linares for improperly fixing his car after an accident.
Mr. Ruiz, the defendant is a mechanic, and you were in an automobile accident, and you were hit from behind.
Correct.
So the accident was clearly the fault of the other driver.
Correct.
Who had insurance.
Yes.
And that happened in what month and year, Mr. Ruiz?
September 2019.
2019 or 18?
It's a little blurry, 18, yeah.
And what was the damage to your car when it was hit from behind by another car?
Oh, it was just rear-ended.
So you had rear damage to your car?
Correct.
When did you take the car to be fixed by the defendant?
October of 2018, yeah, approximately. Yeah, because the car got damaged in September, so
No. First of all, you were coming to court today. This is what I'm trying to put together from your complaint. Your car was rear-ended by a car that had insurance. You took it at some point to the defendant. Prior to taking it to the defendant, you had another accident where location.
Correct.
That car took off. So when you took your car to the defendant to be fixed, you specifically said to him, do not fix the other damage to the car because that wasn't caused by the person who hit me in the rear. That's what you say.
Correct.
Because you either weren't planning on fixing it or you didn't have the money to fix it.
Correct.
The defendant, according to you, dealt with the insurance company, and then you went to pick up your car. Was the rear of your car fixed?
Yes.
Is my question. And the rear of your car was fixed to your satisfaction.
No, it wasn't.
Well, show me pictures of what you're dissatisfied with the rear of the car.
I didn't bring it with me. I have pictures
Well, then
of...
you thought you were coming to the beach today?
No.
Today you're coming to court.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is the damage that you're showing me on the driver's side and the fixed that you're showing me the passenger side?
Yes, made a mistake.
You
We're all
made a
human.
mistake. You know when you made a mistake?
Yes.
When you came here.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jorge Reyes Ruiz claims body shop owner are after an accident.
So this is what your case is about, Mr. Ruiz. So you're not dissatisfied with the work that he did on the rear of your car. Because if you were dissatisfied with that work, you would have brought me a photograph, right?
Correct.
Right. What you state in your complaint was that the defendant also tried to fix or to make it look better where you had had the other accident, something that you didn't ask him to do and didn't want him to do because you weren't going to fix it. And so when you went to pick up your car, the work that the defendant was supposed to do on the rear was done to your satisfaction. He touched the side of your car. You say you were dissatisfied with the work that he did on the side of your car, and it cost you $4,000 to fix that work.
That is correct.
So now I would like to see two things. I want you to show me a photograph of the car before he touched it, after he finished it. Then I want to see the paid bill from the company that fixed it for $4,000, and I want to see a picture of the car that you drove to court with today. Do you understand what I want to see?
Yeah.
I want a picture of, if you have it, what the car looked like before the defendant touched the side of your car.
It's right here.
That's what the car looked like before he touched. Oh, that's a side swipe.
Yeah, somebody...
So
yeah.
now I would like to see what it looked like when he finished it, that you said you were dissatisfied with. Is that the same side of the car?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, would you put up the other picture first? Okay. Well, on one side, Mr. Ruiz, you're showing me the driver's side of the car.
That is correct, yes.
The other picture looks like the passenger side. Am I crazy?
No, you're right.
Is one side the driver's side and one side the passenger side?
Well, I when, you know, I was a little
Wait, just leave them both up there.
Oh.
Well, you look at them and then tell me, is the damage that you're showing me on the driver's side the passenger side? That's either a yes or a no. Are they two different sides of the car?
Yes, they're two different sides of the car. I made a mistake.
What? You
We're all
made a
human.
mistake. You know when you made a mistake? Do you know when you made a mistake, Mr. Ruiz?
Yes.
When you came here. Yeah, when you came here. Goodbye, Mr. Ruiz. Unless you have another picture you want to show me. Unless
No,
you
I
want to
don't.
show me the same side of the car.
I do, but
Goodbye,
I
Mr.
would have to
Did you
go
think
to
that
my
I was
car
stupid?
and
Goodbye.
make up...
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
She spread lies after lies, calling my dogs murderers. I don't deny her feelings. I deny the way she has gone on about it. It's ridiculous.
Your dogs weren't killed, sir.
Judge Judy.
I'm happy.
Well, I did come a little unprepared.
I tell you 3 times, please send it up, bring it over, and I take care.
When you don't have the correct information, there's really no case.
Now I'm gonna keep record for anything.
It's a lesson learned.
They're my fridge, but she's demanding top dollar.
Is it a refrigerator that you're still using?
It is, and it's leaking all over the kitchen.
Great, she's going to come and get it.
So they're not going to have to pay me for their portion?
Do you have any questions about that?
No, I'm clear.
Perfect.
This is Judge Judy.
Brandy Brown is suing her former tenants, Jeremy Stith, his brother, Jared Stith, and Riley Dawson, for damaged and stolen property and unpaid utility bills.
Order. All rise. It's case number 433 on the calendar in the matter of Brown versus Stith Dawson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Miss Brown, you were living in a house. Did you own the house or rent the house?
I rented the house, Your Honor.
So it didn't belong to you. How long had you rented the house?
I lived there for 7 years.
Did you have a lease?
No, Your Honor.
Who owns the house?
When I moved into it, my ex-mother-in-law owned the house. She has since passed, and so my ex-husband has inherited the house.
Did you pay him rent?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
How much?
$1,100 a month.
And when did he take possession of the house?
It was April of...
Schaefer, eventually, your two nephews, raise your hand, two nephews, they moved into the house.
Yes.
You had somebody else there, one of your kids or something, they were moving out, you let your two nephews move in, and they brought in a friend. That would be you.
Yes, Your Honor. The friend did not move in until I got married and moved out.
That's okay. You moved out. In what month and year do you allege that they either damaged, destroyed, or took property that you own?
It was May of 2019.
Are you all still living in the house?
The two of us are. Riley and myself. Jeremy has moved to the Bay Area.
So the two of you were living there?
Yes.
With anyone else?
Another roommate, Alex.
And who do you pay your rent to?
We pay our rent to a property management company that deals with John directly, the property owner.
And how much do you pay in rent?
We now pay $1,600 in rent.
And when you moved out, Miss Brown, when you got married, did you all sign a lease with the new property management company?
Yes. That is correct.
Do you have a copy of that lease?
Yes, it's in here, right? And
So this lease was executed the following month, June 1st. At some point, there's no question that when you moved out in May, were they paying rent prior to your two nephews prior to your moving out?
Yes.
How much rent were they paying?
$625 they were paying to me.
When you moved out in May, what items did you leave there?
I moved out, however, in April of 2017. My son lived there until May of 2019. That's why my things were still there for the boys to use until my son moved out.
May of 2019.
That's when my son moved out, yes. I left my things, they had nothing.
What things?
Okay, when I moved out, I left my washer, dryer, my fridge.
Hold on. Washer.
All of my household items.
This isn't your house. This is a rental house. So is what you're telling me, you purchased the washer, the dryer.
Yes. Yes, the stove and... I'm sorry.
Stove.
The fridge, the microwave, the air conditioner, the lawnmower.
Just a second.
I'm sorry.
And you have the bills for all of that?
Yes.
I'd like to see them. Well, something that's here for $1,000 was purchased in 2003.
Yes.
What was that?
It was a refrigerator.
Who was living in the house?
I have no idea who was living there in 2003. When I moved in 2011, I already owned the refrigerator. I brought it with me, along with the stove and the microwave.
When you moved in, there was no refrigerator.
The house was empty.
And you brought in a refrigerator that you bought that's now 26 years old.
Absolutely, yes.
Is it a refrigerator that you're still using?
it is, and it's leaking all over the kitchen.
Great, she's going to come and get it. You would like that, right? Then you can get a new refrigerator.
It wouldn't be bad.
Right, she's going to come and get her 27-year-old refrigerator. This is a Lowe's.
I purchased a stove at the same time. That's 2003 as well.
Do you still have the stove?
We do.
She's going to come and get it. The 25-year-old stove.
Thank you.
This is a washer-dryer that was purchased October 9th, 2017.
Yes. The ones that I left there broke. I bought the new pair. My son was still living there.
Do you have the washer-dryer?
We do.
She's going to come and get it. I don't see any other receipts.
When I left that house, everything in that house, 98% of it was mine. Everything, the couches, everything. But I don't have receipts for everything.
All I'm telling you is those are the things that you're going to get. Your washer, your dryer, your stove, and your refrigerator within 5 days. Now, owe you a gas and an electric bill.
Yes.
From what month to what month?
Well, this bill says it closed at 6/10 of 19.
June 10, 2019.
Yes. 5/13 to 5/20 of 19.
So for a week?
However, there was a
Just
previous balance.
Is what you're telling me that they owe you for a week?
There was a previous balance on there. I don't know the exact dates of the previous balance.
Well, then I can't help you. Maybe it was when your son was there.
It wasn't my son was there.
Then I don't care.
Well, they paid the bills. They divided them by 4. I'm only asking for a third. There's 3 of them. There's still there. My son paid his portion.
I don't know that.
Your Honor, so they're not going to have to pay me for their portion?
Well, so far, you're talking to me about a week's worth of electric and some appliances that are worth nothing.
Exactly.
That are going to cost you more to move, and I don't know what you're going to do with them. But if you want them, you go get them.
The issue, Your Honor, is that when I moved out, I told them they may keep my things. I married someone who also had a house full of furniture. When my son was leaving, I would come and retrieve my items. When my son told me in January he was leaving, I told him, what are you going to take? He didn't decide.
Listen, you can't tell me about the conversation that you had with your son. Right now, you have receipts of what you purchased that they say is still me, and pick up this old trash. Now, I want to know what bill that you are alleging they owe you.
The gas and electricity bill.
For the 1 week was how much?
The 1 week was $14.09.
$14. Now, what is the other balance that you allege?
It was $74.89.
And the entire bill?
Was $88.98. I paid it already.
So you've taken off your son's share?
No, my son paid his share.
I don't know that.
All right, you're right. I have taken off his share, yes.
So it's $74 divided by 4.
It was $88.98 divided by 4.
Well, then what did you say? What was 74?
Because the $74.89 was the previous balance. Then that 1 week after my son left was $14.09. And I also have a gas bill as well.
So you have an $88 bill. Is that correct?
$88.98, yes.
$66. Now, next.
The gas bill.
And how much was that?
Altogether was $72.76. We have the same problem with that back and partial.
And was that when your son was living there?
Yes.
72 divided by 4 was 18. 72 minus 18 equals $54. 54 plus 66, $134. $134. You have any questions about that?
No, I'm clear.
Perfect. $134 is yours. You pick up your washer, dryer, stove, and fridge within 5 days, or they have the right to either keep it and consider it abandoned or trash it. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Do we have a counterclaim? Nothing. We're done here. Thank you very much. There's no
they
however.
destroyed my property.
There's no however.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They destroyed my family's belongings.
It's unfortunate, for sure.
While I'm on the ground crying, the one boy was laughing.
She said I was laughing and that she was crying on the floor.
I don't mind about Jared, but I will never speak to Jeremy again.
Close the chapter. It's a great day.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Latin versus Alvarez. Step forward.
Letitia Latin is suing her ex-husband, Alan Alvarez, for unauthorized credit card charges.
Miss Latin, you and Mr. Alvarez were married, and
Yes.
then you were divorced. When were you divorced?
We got divorced in October of 2018.
And then you decided to see if you could make a go of it again.
Yes, so Alan...
When did you start living together again?
We never actually lived together again. He was living at his parents' house, and I was living at my parents' house as well.
So you never jointly owned an apartment?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
At some point, you gave him a credit card.
Yes, June
What's
of
the name of the credit card?
It is a Discover card.
And you gave him a Discover card that was in your name.
That is correct.
You made him a user on the card.
No, he was not an authorized user, so basically he had asked me to utilize this card to be able to...
Just a second. He was not an authorized user?
No, he was not. So he asked to use this card to be able to pay for school. I gave it to him in June of 2019, and he basically had stated that he wanted to utilize it to pay for his upcoming classes. He stated that it would be no more than...
Did you ever use the card together?
Yes, Your Honor.
No.
Sure. You never used the card for any purpose together?
No,
All of the charges on the card since June of 2019 are his charges.
That is correct.
I'd like to see them.
Yes, I have all of the paperwork for you. So as you will see...
No. I just want to see. Well, we have Domino's Pizza in June. Who ate the pizza?
We both did.
He ate the pizza. That...
No, he didn't eat $40 worth of pizza.
It may be him and his family, but once again, Your Honor, he had that card, so he could utilize it.
I'm telling me, in June, when you gave him the card, because that's when this first bill is, there's Domino's Pizza in Houston, Texas.
Yes, that was not my transaction. Once I gave him the card, once again, it had a $0 balance.
We're not going in the same direction. I didn't ask you whether he used it for some of his expenses. I asked you whether you ever used it jointly, like when you went out and grabbed dinner.
No.
You said no. Okay, he's going to tell me his side of the story, then I'm going to figure out who I believe.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Who's supposed to make the payments that were yours?
Or a verbal agreement between each other was I could make payments whenever I could.
You think that I'm going to believe that?
No, ma'am.
You think that I'm going to believe that? So
no, ma'am.
Why do you even go at it?
Letitia Latin is suing her ex-husband, Alan Alvarez, for unauthorized credit card charges.
Now, then we had a new balance. That's a big balance. And that was in August, $2,000. Amazon, July 13th, $699. What did you buy?
Camera.
For whom?
I think she bought one.
Shh. One camera, but then I have a Best Buy, and then I have an Amazon Marketplace for $587. Pay attention to me. Did you buy a camera?
I do not have a camera. So once again, what he did with that is basically he utilized the card to be able to buy these purchases. And I'm not sure what the $587 one was, but I do not have it in my possession. And once again, this card was supposed to be utilized only strictly for school. But
hey, you keep saying that, and what I'm telling you is I want to know that when you went someplace together, did you say, well, use the card?
No, we use mainly debit cards.
That's false.
No, that's correct. But we use mainly debit cards for purchases together, preferably not credit cards.
A new balance, and that was September. So somebody paid the bill.
Me, because I seen how high it was beginning to get. And
so just a second. So you paid the bill?
Yes, I paid something on the bill. Because at that point, I had realized how much he was racking up on this card that was supposed to be utilized for school in August, only for $350, which I confronted him about it. From there, he actually sent over one payment for about $100 to be able to pay down the card. And then I put something else additional on it because I care for my credit. And I don't.
You made a payment in August.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, once I seen how much.
Just a second. Well, who charged 2 tickets on British Airways on August 3rd?
That would be him. He has a friend who's having a wedding in Italy or Rome, and so he said that he wanted to surprise me with a trip there. So he actually charged for that amount. And I have...
Just a second. I'm not getting involved with playing house with this. That's sort of your problem. I want you to show me proof of what you paid on the card.
I have proof of payments I made.
I didn't ask you anything.
I'll bring it up to you.
No. What is it?
I have my bank statements.
How much you paid on the card?
I've paid $460 on it.
Yeah, but the camera was more expensive.
Yes, ma'am, that's true.
Well, who was supposed to make the payments that were yours?
Or a verbal agreement between each other was I could make payments whenever I could after a split up.
Well, just a second. You could make payments whenever you could? You think that I'm going to believe that?
No, ma'am.
You think that I'm going to believe that? So
no, ma'am.
Why do you even go at it? Listen, I'm not going through these things because that's not what courts do.
Sure.
You clearly owe more than what you paid. Go outside and figure out what are yours. Did anybody go on this trip to Italy?
No, ma'am.
Well, somebody better return the ticket. Figure out what you owe on the card. Whatever is a meal, pizza, Chick-fil-A, Olive Garden, I don't want to know from it. I only want to know what purchases are yours on this card.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And then I'll see you whenever I see you. Later rather than sooner, I hope.
This case will be recalled.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Courts don't get involved in this kind of business with two people that aren't married.
Yeah.
I'm saying you gave him your credit card, and there isn't a question in my mind that you and he used that credit card together for certain things. I am not dealing with that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. In a case earlier today,
Letitia Latin is suing her ex-husband, Alan Alvarez, for unauthorized credit card charges.
All right, have you gone over the list of items that are there?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see what you've identified as your items.
She got the list.
Well, what items have you identified as yours?
A charge of $587 on Amazon Market, which just comes out to $44.25.
And you didn't go there together. You went there alone.
I went with her.
No, he did not, Your Honor. And then also, in regards to those charges, I actually have...
I'm going to throw this back at you. What I asked you was $44. I'm not splitting a bill from Olive Garden. I want to know, what are your charges on this? Have you figured it out yet? And if not, you can go back, figure it out, what your charges. I don't want Olive Garden. I don't want Pizza Hut. I don't want Domino's Pizza. I want what your charges are. And if you can't do it, I'm sending you home.
I have my charges here, Your Honor.
Then what are your charges?
I have $206 with 10 cents for PayPal, and a combined of
What
charge
was
of...
$587?
Ma'am, it was a camera.
$587 for the camera.
Yes, ma'am.
What else?
The $206 and 10 cents for PayPal.
What did you do with that?
I went to a convention, and
what else?
And $277 for my insurance payment.
Insurance?
Yes, ma'am. Car insurance.
And that's what the two of you discussed and agreed to outside?
We did not agree. So once again, Your Honor, even the charges for, the beginning of this, where he was stating that I, put some on the card, I was actually out of town, and I actually have documentation showing that I actually was on a cruise. So how can I partake in? He also had sent me a list of text messages showing that he was aware that he owed a balance. He got mad at me because I didn't want to take him back and have intercourse with him, and this is where he got upset and no longer wanted to pay the balance.
Let me explain something to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Courts don't get involved in this kind of business with two people that aren't married.
Yeah, I understand.
We don't get involved with this. I'm being very kind to you.
Yes.
I'm saying you gave him your credit card, and there isn't a question in my mind that you and he used that credit card together for certain things. I am not dealing with that. I'm not splitting an Olive Garden bill, a Domino's Pizza bill. Did you return the plane tickets?
The plane tickets, I actually have...
That's a yes or a no?
No, I did not.
So you still have them?
Yes, in my possession, which I actually have seen that they will give me basically some type of credit for it. Good. But I don't think I should be held responsible for his portion of
judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Return the tickets.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
A style showdown in her consignment.
Start fighting.
Someone was arrested. That would be you.
Yes.
Judge Judy.
None of these charges were mine.
She told me I could do whatever. I did whatever.
He had cheated on me.
I did, but there's a reason why.
Just